Shalom Chaverim. It's Wednesday night again, here in the nation's capital. Weather-wise, had a beautiful, beautiful day, more like September or October than the end of August and the end of summer. So let's have some questions about philosophy, Judaism, the meaning of life. Once again, not a single viewer emailed me about being a guest. And I see some people say invite, and my response is yes, you are invited. Email rabbiblock@hotmail.com and we'll decide on a topic and how we'll co-host together, how we'll communicate with each other. I ask every single week, and so far in 2 years, no one has taken me up on the offer of being a co-host. I'm disappointed, and I don't understand why. And someone says, let's just do impromptu. No, I don't think that, but you know what? RL, yes, let's do impromptu. Email me, let's meet, and let's see how we'll do impromptu. Let's see how it's respectful for each other and how it will be interesting. Okay? The answer to you is yes, I want to do impromptu with you next week. Please, let me know. One of the curious factors about us as human beings is avoid discussion? No, that's not true, RL. It's not about avoiding discussion. It's about being respectful about having a discussion. And I'd like to know a little more about you. You know all about me. I don't know if you're using your name or another name. So please, email me. And let's sort this out. Hello, I'm a professor. What are you a professor of and where? I'm an adjunct associate professor of medicine, University of Maryland School of Medicine. So where are you a professor? What is topology, by the way? Someone just put that down. You're a professor of I don't know what topology is, so you're going to have to help me out. I'm not avoiding, I can't be sure how serious people are, or do they just want to rant, or do you want to accuse? And so I want to respect you. Oh, thoughts on Netanyahu? I'm not a Netanyahu fan. I think he's not good for the state of Israel. I didn't think he was good when he was elected. However, I'm not an Israeli. I don't get to vote in Israeli elections. Chris Moore, atheist, raised Episcopalian. I have a very serious... I'm moving around so I can read it. Yeah, please, go ask your serious question. My first love, and what are my memories? 80 years old, I don't quite remember that far back. So let's leave that out. It's a neat question. Too much, not enough influence. I don't think any country has influence on the United States that the United States won't let it have. And now that's a very curious question. And we're often asked, how much influence does Big Pharma have? How much influence does industry have? And I think we're asking the wrong question. I think we have to ask about our government, how much will our politicians let themselves be influenced? And I believe that it's what's in it for them. And it's not that anyone has too much influence. And, we vote with our feet, by the way. I know that's kind of strange. I guess someone asked about AIPAC. What about Big Pharma? What about the oil industry? What about the Arab League? There are lots of organizations that want to influence the United States government. In the end, our government has to make decisions about what's in it for America, or what they think is in it for America. Just like we do in our own lives. We want to believe that someone has undue influence or too much influence. I don't think that's true. Someone just said the Talmud. The Talmud is rabbinic discussion of the oral laws. It doesn't have the last word in Judaism. What's written in the Talmud doesn't apply to everyone. It's rabbinic discussion. One of the fascinating pieces of Talmud is it has both majority and minority opinions. It leaves it open. And it's how people take it. I think that's germane to our discussion. A lot of governments and organizations want to influence American politics. Oh, money corrupts politicians, and that's what greases the wheels of government. Big Pharma spends billions. If you look at many millionaires, they both support Democrats and Republicans. They're hedging their odds. So whoever gets in, they're supporting. But different groups have different ideas about how to influence a country. Do you give money outright? Do you send literature? Big Pharma is putting billions into TV commercials. That's how they want to influence sales of medication. By having us as patients and consumers say to our doctors, I saw this on television and there's this great drug and I have osteoarthritis, I have rheumatoid arthritis, I have Crohn's disease. I saw all these great products. I want you to put me on all of them. And I am influenced by these advertisements. And then the idea is I'm going to influence my doctor to buy the medications. Now, should we ban medical commercials? I have another solution. Let the consumer, let the buyer beware. Why don't we, instead of just running off helter-skelter, why don't we become more knowledgeable? I'm going to research the drugs I see, and that's what I do. Then when I talk to my physicians, I can say, what's the track record? What have you seen with these? One of the things you're assuming is blind obedience, blind following to AIPAC, influence of people on our government. You saw the question and have any. What's the question? Remember, keep in mind that the questions go by very fast. They're in white. That's why I wear black. And sometimes by the time I catch the question, it's moved up, and then I can't read it. That's why you sometimes see me dodging and moving. Okay? And I keep getting friend requests, and I keep telling the same thing. Yes, let's set up a procedure. Let's decide our questions. And I'm not a big fan of impromptu. I'm not. Because usually it's not respectful, and it ends up somebody just wanting to pontificate or get their opinion across and really don't want to have a give and take, don't want to have dialogue and discussion. That's what I'm interested in, dialogue and discussion. Keep in mind that the Talmud is not the last word in Judaism, and it's not Jewish law. Okay? Let's get back to undue influence. I was on the school board in Harford County for 10 years. I was on the board of Harford Community College for 5 years. We would go to Annapolis to lobby for the things that we wanted in the budget, not just for the state, but for us as a county. And we would meet with politicians. I had a budget for food and alcohol. What better way to discuss things than over dinner or over a good bourbon? Now, why am I always dodging questions? What question am I dodging, please? I want to know. And I'm waiting for the answer to come up. And my being on the school board and being president of both boards, one of our major functions is getting a bigger piece of the pie for Harford County, or getting a bigger piece of the pie for education in Maryland. And so we would meet and we would influence. Is it undue? Is it wrong? No. Our delegation to Annapolis, our politicians are very savvy people. They knew how much money. They knew how much they had to balance the budget. And so I feel that alcohol definitely should be part of the budget. Definitely. No question about it. A glass of wine, a bourbon, let's socialize. Let's talk. Let's talk honestly. I'll make that offer to any of you out there. Let me know. Let's go out for lunch. Let's go out for dinner. The question is, how much influence do I have on our politicians? And by the same token, citizens of the county. Someone takes me out for lunch and says, this is what's going on. I'm listening. You don't have to take me to lunch. I'll listen. I have a YouTube. Of course, the YouTube channel is The Rabbi and I, but we can meet and we can talk. We can do it in person. We could do it but not publicly. I think it's kind of curious about where we get our information and how we influence each other. I have a Zoom room. I've mentioned that before. It's an easy way. Nobody has to drive anywhere. No one has to go anywhere. We just log on and we meet each other. And what we want to do is be able to talk with each other. Now let's get back to influence. And does Israel have too much influence? No, our government doesn't have to listen. AIPAC can spend as much money as it wants. Who says our politicians have to do what they say? Yes, you can convert to Judaism. Judaism is a religion, not a nationality. And if you're interested in converting, email me. And then I'll be glad to meet with you in my Zoom room or on the phone. And we can review what conversion, Orthodox, non-Orthodox, different forms of conversion, where it's accepted. I'll be glad to discuss with you. Okay? And we're going back to voting with our feet. Another expression is, I'm going to vote with myself. I'm going to buy a product. That's a vote. I'm going to vote for a candidate. But putting that aside, every day of our lives, we vote for different things. By buying a product, we're voting for it. Pepsi or Coke. Subway. Jersey Mike. And so we want to stop and say, what's influencing me to buy this product? What is influencing me to make statements, to say something? I would like to have dialogue with Rabbi Block. You can have it. Okay? Easy enough. Do you want to... I don't vote for my tax dollars. I don't want my tax dollars to support lots of things. So vote with your feet. Join the appropriate organization. Write letters to our politicians. Now, one of the things that happens is, as individuals, we don't have a lot of influence. Mothers Against Drunk Driving started out by a few individuals saying, we have to do something about drunk driving. They got together and formed an organization. If you are against money going to Israel, then there are organizations that will give your voice. Let your voice be heard. And I realize from some of your statements that you haven't done a lot of research to find out answers to your own questions. That many of us just accept something we hear, something we saw, and it's too much work. It's too easy to listen to a soundbite and say, oh, that's the truth. I don't understand, don't discuss the Talmud. I'll be glad to discuss Talmud. I would just want to know, in terms of your Hebrew, your ability to read the text, and your understanding. But let's discuss Talmud. Whoever said that, email me and we'll discuss Talmud. And as I've mentioned before, I believe in two countries, Israel and a Palestine, each recognizing the right of the other to exist, neither country existing to destroy the other, and sitting down and negotiating. I think Saudi Arabia is in a perfect position. Egypt, Jordan are in a perfect position to sit down and discuss countries. You and I are not. We're not politicians. We don't have a say in what's going on. Therefore, that we're not in a position to do that. But there are people who are. And please, go to my YouTube channel, The Rabbi and I, listen to my podcast, The Rabbi and I, and you'll hear my position. I've outlined ways that we can have both an Israel and a Palestine, but not by pithy sayings and not by throwing accusations out. It's not going to accomplish anything. It's kind of a, should I buy a Rolex? No, don't buy a Rolex. It's not worth the money. Buy a Timex. Timex keeps good time. That would be perfectly good. And I realize that some of the things you're asking me are, I don't know, you're entertaining yourself. I don't find them entertaining. If you'd like, come up with questions that are more entertaining, and I'd be glad to answer them. Okay? Undue influence, too much influence. How much influence do we have? I think that's an important question. No, definitely should not build a third temple. There's no reason to build another temple. The second temple was destroyed. And the idea of God's plan was, don't build another one. Okay? It's not helpful, and it's not in the plan. Even if it's boring, you should answer it. Answer what? Someone is obsessed with a Rolex. How long did you live in the U.S.? I was born in the United States. I've spent my entire life as a citizen of the United States. I spent some time in Israel on trips. I went to Israel as an immigrant. However, I declined citizenship and returned to the United States. No, I don't know Joshua Block. If you could give me some more information, my original name was Blech. When the family came from Belarus, from Globoki, to Ellis Island, the name Blech was changed to Block. So I'm not a Block like Block Island or H&R Block. Those are older families that have the name. My name was changed into. Now, is the nation of Israel against God's teachings and the Torah? I am not a political Zionist. I'm a spiritual cultural Zionist. Israel is a country, and political Zionism has come to the front in terms of Israel making decisions. I'm not happy about the decisions the country is making. I'm not happy about Russia invading Ukraine. I'm not happy about the decisions they're making. I think France should give Basque its own country. There's a lot of things I think should happen. However, I'm not voting with my feet. I'm not joining organizations that are supporting these ideas. And that really is my topic for tonight. Why did I decline? That is an excellent question because it fits in with my view. I'm not a political Zionist. I realized that Israel is a country and has to do things that a country has to do that are not consistent with my ideas about Judaism, culturally and spiritually. It's a country. And watching things going on, I realized, no, I'm an American, and I believe in the American democracy, and I didn't want to give up my citizenship. Now you can have dual citizenship, but when I went, it was a choice. You had one or the other. And that was a good question because it goes back to political Zionism. Look at what the United States is doing here and abroad. We all don't agree with it, and many things we don't approve of. However, we have a system, and I don't believe that our troops should be on the streets. Written right into our Constitution, written right into the very fabric of America is troops from the United States should not be policemen. They should not be involved in local. The military does not belong on U.S. soil. Unless, of course, we're invaded, but that's a different question. No, it's not about not having a military. And I want to separate out my understanding of Judaism and the practical problems of being a country. And often, because Israel claims to be a Jewish country, a Jewish state, Israel has Jews, Muslims, Druze, Christians, lots of groups of, a lot of religions. And a lot of religious people live in the state of Israel. And it is kind of a mixed metaphor, and it's kind of a hard to have both, to work on them. I'm the Son of God. It says that in Genesis. God created human beings. God created men and women, boys and girls. We're all the children of God. If we're the children, then I'm the son of God. And some of your questions really are important. And it's really important to do a little research. And I would suggest the easiest way is listen to my podcasts on The Rabbi and I. And go to my YouTube channel, The Rabbi and I. That's really an easy way. And an answer to many of your questions lies in my book, How to Be Jewish in 30 Seconds. And I check on my book sales. You're not buying my book? That raises a good question about how serious are you about finding out answers to your questions. Not one-liners, not pithy statements, but how much do you really want to know about the history of the State of Israel, the history of Hamas, the history of Hezbollah? How much do you want to learn how the governments of Europe carved up the Middle East? And how many governments then grew up wanting a piece of the pie? And how murky politics is? It's not simple. And to talk about we should throw this person out or we should do this, there are individuals living on the land, living in countries. And the Pan-Arab, when I studied Arabic, there were some questions about which Arabic to study. Iran is the enemy. Iran is Islamic, but it doesn't want to join with the Saudis. It doesn't want to join with the Emirates. Iran does not want to see any form of Pan-Arabism. So to ask me if I believe in it is kind of a fun question. Yes, I do. I think Iran should acknowledge the validity of Saudi Arabia. Think about that. Yes, Iran has a right to exist. And Iran has also said, our goal is to destroy Israel. Okay, Canada makes a statement, the purpose we exist is to destroy the United States. How do you think we would take that? In terms of being on the world stage, saying that your goal is to destroy another nation makes it very difficult to have any kind of peace, any kind of harmony, and have commerce. Iran has made it clear that its purpose is to destroy Israel. Now what do we do? And I think if part of Iran's belief is to destroy Saudi Arabia. Yeah. The Middle East was colonized and carved up. That was then. Now, what do we do with the mess we have now? It's the joke about putting toothpaste back in the tube. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. The question we have now is, since Europe created, colonized, and carved up the Middle East, what do we do with the mess we're in now? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to you sending me emails so that we can co-host next week.